Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is the Maverick channel. Now, as you've noticed, guys, yesterday I did a video about, there was this war between CZ Binance of the Binance exchange, essentially the biggest exchange in the world, and FTX, which was like the third biggest exchange. If you look at Binance, these are centralized exchanges. It means they have a central body and the order books are controlled by them. In other words, you don't own your private keys to these cryptocurrencies. And that's why there's a saying in crypto, not your keys, not your coins. So Binance being one of the biggest exchanges in the world, Coinbase being, I think, in the second position, and FTX, which is an exchange owned by, I guess it's becoming insolvent right now. In other words, it's becoming bankrupt. It's an exchange that was owned by this person called Sam Bankman-Fried. So what's happening in the crypto space right now is that there was an ongoing war that has been brewing since 2019. Binance is the one that helped the FTX exchange get onto its feet. It's just a quick overlay of what's going on. And then FTX became very big, but then they started getting into politics a little deeper. And the CEO of Binance Exchange, Changpeng Zhao, came out and said that, hey, we're not going to support these platforms that are going behind other people's back or other companies' backs through lobbying, through politicians. So because Binance owned a lot of tokens way back worth about $2 billion back then in the FTT token, which is the native token of the FTX exchange, and the BUSD token, I think it was the BUSD token, which is the stablecoin of the Binance ecosystem, almost worth $2 billion. They said they were going to start selling off those tokens because they didn't want to pretend like they were making love, yet they're divorced, because we know these two exchanges separated. Anyway, so a summarization of all that whole story has led into this, which you see this kind of market panic right now, because despite all that was happening, the exchange came out and said, this is a tweet that was by CZ Binance himself, the CEO of Binance, stating that this afternoon FTX exchange, which is the one that's in deep waters and deep trouble with other firms like Alameda Finance, which was like a venture capital arm of the FTX exchange. So FTX has asked for help. This is a significant liquidity crunch. To protect users, we signed a non-bidding LOI, or letter of intent, intending to fully acquire FTX.com, remember, one of the biggest exchanges at the time, and help cover the liquidity crunch. We'll be conducting a full DD in the coming days. Now, what's interesting is that if you wind back the clock, you notice that Sam Bankman-Fried, during the debacle, before they asked for that so-called help, he tweeted this out: FTX has enough to cover all client holdings. We don't invest client assets, even in treasuries. We have been processing all withdrawals and will continue to be. Some details on the withdrawal speed, delays here and there. And we know a few days ago, actually yesterday, the exchange was becoming insolvent. It was facing a liquidity crunch. And he went ahead to delete this tweet that was tweeted a while back, stating they have all the finances, which means this exchange didn't actually have the liquidity. So this is becoming a problem. So as we move on into the crypto exchanges, centralized exchanges, and all this, CZ Binance, being as influential as he is, went out to say that all crypto exchanges should do a Merkle tree proof of reserves. Banks run on a fractional reserve, that fractional reserve lending kind of thing. Crypto exchanges should not. Binance will start to do a proof of reserves soon, full transparency. Now, how you know that indeed CZ Binance is very respected in this space, especially how successful Binance is and how it has survived so many bear markets, and the discipline they have in terms of keeping funds and not over leveraging themselves. It created a sort of market-wide, this message spread across all other centralized exchanges that went ahead to pledge to actually fit into this kind of this particular narrative, or to say that they're following this message, I think, as a way of keeping their clientele. Because Binance is becoming too big, it has a possibility of actually pulling over many of these clienteles, given that they have this liquidity. Binance Proof of Reserve pledge gains support following FTX crisis. The call for a more detailed disclosure of liquidity through the use of proof of reserves has been backed by many high-profile figures. Now, when you go ahead, of course, and you read these articles, you'll understand that there's so many exchanges that have followed on to after Binance's tweet. They have actually followed on to this message, and they've gone ahead to pledge that they're going to work on their own proof of reserves. For example, you can see here crypto exchanges scramble to compile a proof of reserves as FTX contagion crypts markets. So over 7 crypto exchanges will publish their reserve holdings in the next month. Now, of course, there's many articles written about this. For example, divisions in Sam Bankman-Fried's crypto empire blur on his trading titan Alameda's balance sheet, because there were some questions about their balance sheet. They were claiming they actually have these tokens. So there's a rumor that they were actually using the FTX token, which could be minted, the FTT token, which could be minted to infinity probably, to use that as a collateral source, which was not a good idea. And again, with CZ Binance's words of wisdom, at some point tweeted by saying that, hey, if you're an exchange or if you're a company and you're creating your own token, try not to use that token as your leverage or as your source of collateral. Try to find some other means of collateral or diversify your portfolio, things like that, but don't use your own token. And went ahead to state that Binance doesn't actually use the BNB token, which is their main token, to use as collateral. They use other kinds of assets. They hold a large chunk of stablecoins like USDT, their own BUSD, and so on, and other stablecoins like DAI and so on. So industry leaders or other titans, other exchanges, other farms are paying attention, because this is a successful farm led by a very smart person. And not short, very soon afterwards, Binance went ahead to launch this on their Binance Academy, that secure asset funds for users, which is SAFU. This was a word that they say at some point Binance tweeted out funds are safe back in 2018, I think. And then there was a parody of someone that released a video that went viral saying that funds are SAFU. So they've found a way of creating some words around this acronym, the secure asset fund for users. So CZ Binance went ahead and tweeted this, that they've officially created this to be some sort of insurance. And you can see this within this tweet. Just recently, just soon after that, CZ Binance, the CEO of Binance, went ahead to say that to adjust to recent price fluctuations, Binance has topped up the SAFU insurance fund to $1 billion. And this is currently in the current market trend, to $1 billion USD equivalent again. So this fund currently contains BUSD, which is their stablecoin, BNB, which is their native token. I guess this time it's not being really used as a collateral, but it's being used to back up this fund that they're using, because they're also they've always followed this method of making sure that the BNB token is following a deflationary trend. So they keep buying back the token, they keep burning the token, so they keep making sure that the supply of the token constantly reduces, which, with their success increases the value of the token. And 300 million of that fund, so that's going to comprise 700 million currently, and 300 million of that fund is going to be comprised of BTC. So they're pretty quality assets, especially if you're putting aside BTC worth 300 million. And if you read the article, they actually published the addresses where you can check this, and it was about 16,000 Bitcoin and over 1 million of their BNB token. So in case a bull market is to return in the future, there will be quite a lot of capital acting as insurance for the users of BNB. So as a result, so many exchanges out there like Gate.io, for example, they tweeted out, as the first exchange to provide 100% proof of reserves with market tree verification, Gate.io will disclose our open source solution to the industry and support our peers conducting a proof of reserve to promote transparency and accelerate healthy industry development. And you can see Justin Sun, who bought Poloniex, and the Tron network, runs the Tron network. I want to echo CZ's advice. Poloniex and Huobi Global both have done it before. Huobi actually just finished it. Huobi is another exchange, has just finished it about 1 month ago, but we would love to do a third one with CZ's proposal. Merkle Tree proof of reserves 100% is very important to our industry and transparency. And you can see other exchanges also jumped onto the ship or onto that boat by stating, for example, OKX is another huge exchange. They're like, it's critical for all major crypto venues to publicly share their auditable Merkle Tree proof of reserves, or POF. We plan to publish ours in the coming weeks within 30 days. This is an important step to establish a baseline trust in the industry. And then also other exchanges like Femex that I didn't actually know this one. So other smaller exchanges, they're also doing their own pledge. So user funds should be the #1 responsibility for any crypto exchange. That's why Femex has always kept 100% of user funds in safe reserves. Within 30 days, we will release market tree proof of reserves. Now, guys, this is not sort of investment advice on which exchanges to use, but to kind of show you where the market trend is headed, because we've seen previously like Celsius Finance, Voyager Capital, BlockFi. We've seen all these centralized sort of platforms that want to claim the DeFi, but they're centralized. They've ended up getting over leveraged, and they've ended up getting a lot of debt because they've gotten so much money from other venture capital firms that led them to a position where they're too over leveraged in this industry, and that led to a massive crash that spread across various networks across the whole crypto industry that contributed massively to the current bear market. And you can see other titans are being weeded out. For example, Terra Luna was weeded out because of the over leverage of their own tokens. And now recently FTX exchange, which was a shock to the whole world, one of the biggest exchanges in the world, has actually been taken down, weeded out by the bear market itself because of how leveraged they are. Now there are rumors actually that Binance Exchange, since they asked help for Binance Exchange, the same people that were loggerheads with, there's a rumor, but CZ Binance, CEO of Binance, said they're not bound by any kind of, in other words, they don't have to purchase this, but they're looking into this with ongoing discussions. They might actually purchase or acquire FTX exchange. Now, those rumors, of course, have led to some sort of panic in the market, which has led the market to become what you see right now. There was a little bit of speculation, a little bit of pump in the price, not too long ago, once this announcement was put out that Binance might acquire FTX, but then shortly after that, of course, that was like the final pump before this kind of market panic came in, because different titans out there, venture capitalist firms, the FTX exchange itself, Alameda Finance, we don't know which kinds of cryptocurrencies they had bought earlier on, given the amount of capital they had, millions or even billions of dollars. So many of them are selling off these assets to protect themselves, to protect themselves from completely getting wiped out as this market drops, or as this market gets into this kind of panic. And as a result, also other traders are trading out of their different positions because they don't want their liquidity to flow into some of these bad players or some of these bad practices. Yet again, the bear market weeds out bad players in this space as it prepares for a true financial system that lies on top of the internet as we move forward. So we're going to see some of these things that work, some of the things that don't work as they get weeded out. And that's why the bear market is very important, even if it's very painful, to kind of weed out some of these bad practices, or to allow us to learn, and even other, the biggest firms out there, to learn from some of these mistakes so that they do not repeat these mistakes as we move forward. And also so that we get more quality products. And somehow I see all of this sort of pushing us into a more decentralized ecosystem in this crypto market. So guys, I urge you to do a little bit more research. I'll put some of these links in the description so you can just click on them and go into them and have somewhere to start from. Yeah, and make sure you're careful out there. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.